And once again, hello and welcome once again to Crazy Comics and Stories. It's me, your charming and delightful old Uncle Rat Bastard. And at the other end of the Joe, Crazy Rider. Con opened a few minutes ago. Joe's not here. Should kind of be used to that. I gotta let people in on some secrets about the podcast, believe it or not. Secret number one, I tell people that we start at 8. Oh, we're going to start at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, that's when we start. We've been starting at 8 o'clock Monday nights for, I don't know, since the dawn of time. Since the beginning. First, there was the darkness, and then the Big Bang, and then there was light, and then things started to coalesce, and the gravity started to push things apart, and the stars were formed, the galaxies were formed, and then the podcast started. And then we said, you know, what we're going to do is I'm sure this is exciting. But we always started at 8. 8 o'clock, that's when we start. We always start at 8 o'clock. We start at 8. And Joe, every week, 8:05, are we starting? Is that what we're doing? We starting? That's right. Joe, once again, not here. Don't mind me, I'm just checking to make sure things are working. Compelling television, ladies and gentlemen. There is so much excitement going on here. You just can't believe it. But no Joe. He's not here. Not around. Nowhere to be fucking seen. I should be used to it by now. I really should be used to it. So maybe today will be another day where it's just me doing all this. Should be used to it by now. Won't that be exciting? I really should be used to it. So, but there we go. It's day 2 of SpringCon. Day 2 of us doing this. And Joe is 8 minutes late.
Nobody wants to see your ugly mug. Turn around. Let's see what's going on here.
You turn it around.
I did yesterday. I'll do it now.
Do it now. Do it now. We're live, partner.
Corey and me all day and a wall behind us when we could be watching the con. I want going on yet. So I can hear.
You should probably have the microphone so that people can actually hear what you're saying.
Oh, you're just a bitch.
Yes, I am.
Bitch.
I'm playing Curtis Mayfield to get myself in the mood, to get myself revved
Crap.
up, to get excited.
Crap.
I'm listening to Pusherman. I'm listening to Superfly. I'm listening to some of the greatest funk music ever.
Listen to music.
The greatest funk music ever. Joe, it's crap. It's crap. What does Joe want to listen to? Fucking Hamster Dance. Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Do you have more cookies?
Of course I have more cookies. They're
The
the ice cream
snickerdoodles? I
tubs.
hate the snickerdoodles. Are really good.
There they are.
Oh, that's good.
Right back there.
Oh, we can
Jump
go
in.
back?
Yeah.
I felt like that's kind of the fortress of solitude.
Oh, no. We have no boundaries.
Sit your ass down, Strode. It's time for everybody's favorite segment, Ask the Strode.
Uh-oh. Wait.
Unless you want to start with your old welcome once again.
I already did. I did that 8 minutes ago.
Yes, I've gone felt.
And this is for being late.
Hey, not in the ear. I just cleaned it out from last night. All right.
We got puppet porn.
There is a prize involved.
A prize?
A prize. Number one.
That was not our feedback.
Corey.
Yes.
What is the Hellblazer issue that Neil Gaiman wrote? I'll give you a hint. It's before 50.
20.
It's in the 20s. Number 27.
Oh, okay.
The reason I asked is because I looked all over this con. This morning, Dana and I had an interesting discussion about Alan Moore and why he's pissed at the comic industry versus a guy like Neil Gaiman who's like, well, it's a business. They're not your friends. Partnership.
Right.
Things we've talked about in the past. And I told her to come talk to you about the real reason Alan Moore.
Well, I can tell you the reason Alan Moore's hates the comic industry.
But we'll cover that later.
It's because they lied to him.
Yeah, and oh no, these aren't merchandise. It's production stuff.
Well, it's more than that. He wouldn't work at Marvel.
Promotion material.
Wouldn't work at Marvel again because he worked on Captain Britain. And in England, there are certain rights you have inherent as a creator. And Marvel, on the other hand, just reprinted it in the U.S. Didn't pay reprint fees because Marvel doesn't pay reprint fees. Didn't give him any of the rights he had. He was like, you violated British copyright law. And they're like, oh, we're an American company. But this was out of your British office, and it's subject to we closed down our British office. We don't have a British office anymore.
I do know Quesada went over to talk to him about
that.
Yes,
when Quesada took over, he came to make nice. And Moore was polite.
And he said, that's fine, put my name on it. And then, of course, when it was printed...
And then they reprinted it.
And didn't.
Well, he wanted... His name was already on it, but he wanted the copyright notice. Here. He didn't want money. He just wanted the copyright notice. And when they printed it here, they forgot and left it off. And he's like, another one of these guys ripping me off.
Well, he said Quesada did apologize personally, but he's like, forget it.
Yeah.
The guy who's running the place can say this, but then the legal beagles or the dumb guys running the prints won't. Okay. Anyways, I was looking for this issue, Hellblazer 27. Wonderful story by Neil Gaiman. I sold it years ago because that was when he was at Dreamhaven and he autographed it for me. And as I'm slowly, getting rid of my vast accumulation of crap, it was just one of those I sold on eBay. There is not one to be found at the con.
See, I don't sell any of my autograph stuff.
I don't care. I just wanted it because Dana wants to read the story, and now I can't. I can't find it.
You've had stuff that you've had autographed. When I have something autographed, it's because this means something to me. I want to keep it, and I would sell that. Now there are other things I would sell.
See, but I also have Neil Gaiman who drew a sketch of Morpheus for me.
Yeah,
I'm keeping that.
Very good. Dana sells it.
Question 2.
Okay.
Who's that?
Smiley, the psychotic button.
Okay. Number 3. Who's that?
I know it's from Bone.
Holly. Do you remember who this is?
That's right.
Holly gave the answer.
I thought it was Ted the Bug, but I didn't want to. I knew it was a bug, and I knew it was from Bone.
Yeah, because the gag is his brother is like.
Yeah.
No, but Corey did. No. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the portion of the show where we bestow upon Corey
fabulous prizes. I'm gonna need a minute alone.
Speaking of signed books, I got to run over to Gruber's table eventually when he gets back. Oh, you complain about me and Wolfie. Oh. Anyways, I got to go get some stuff. My buddy Gruber's blowing out his stuff for like 50% off to 70% off, and he's selling books for me. I gotta go get the money. He actually sold a little crumb in the beard. Next time I'm getting him apple pie because his teeth was like all stained red. Corey
I have an entire apple pie hidden in reserve.
Gru sold 2 books for me. He sold No Surprise, the white trash edition of Dawn,
Okay.
which is basically Dawn #1 from Image, and they put a special cover around it, limited.
Special cover.
And what I picked up from Granite City, which we haven't covered yet in the podcast,
We'll get there.
Cry for Dawn #1 first print.
Yes.
So I bought it, jacked the price up, took 20% off. Typical Gruba tactics. Both of them sold. So I got to go get my money
So
from
you've got
Pat.
money for cracking hookers.
And I'm all ready for the art auction. I got a few pieces I may ask if people can help me. And
He needs a lot of help. I've noticed he showed up 10 minutes late for this here podcast.
hang on a second.
God only knows. I don't even know. I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we're on our live interfeeds. We have the grandson and the grandfather. It makes me feel so good to see you two together. He's giving into the dark side.
Because he wants to bless him. He wanted you to bless him. He wanted you to bless him with the dark side.
Here, again.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Wait, I got it.
In Excelsius Darkio.
I haven't seen him so excited since Godzilla blessed him with his fiery goodness. Well, I guess I'm doing this podcast solo now as Corey's being choked out.
Read it to your mind.
There's
Ooh,
nothing there.
Redheads and
Yeah, I
pie.
kinda figured.
Redheads and pie. Nasty. Nasty.
Nothing but redheads and pie in this room.
And women.
I will
redheads.
warn you gentlemen, this place seems to be overrun with Jedi. If you could
Good.
do something about it, yeah, we would appreciate
Bring
that.
them on. Just like Luke, I'll take them all out.
All right.
Wait,
It's like,
you took Luke out?
no, I took out his Padawans.
Oh. I
He-
thought
he
you took
took care
out...
of it
Oh,
before in Order
spoilers!
66. He took care of it in Order 66, I just took over it again.
Oh, okay.
Like, grandpa, grandson like grandpa.
By the way, he could be a real whiny bitch.
Shut up!
What's with these guys? I
You know
mean,
what?
Luke was that way. He's that way. Is this? And you were really that way.
Yes, he was.
Shh, I don't want to get choked out.
Shall I remind you?
Yes.
Shall I remind you? No! Yeah, it doesn't work on me anymore.
That won't.
I have the power of pie.
Oh, thanks.
You have the dark side, I have the pie side.
Oh, yeah, you got that.
Could you trim his beard a little?
You go nuts when this thing is in
I know
here.
it's terrible. Terrible.
Oh, yeah. That's a fussy beard.
So I've had the lovely and talented Jin Wicked play with my Van Dyke, and now Kylo Ren. I don't know, which is more evil?
Matt, the technician, was talking highly of you. That's power. Tattoo cleavage. Even his lightsaber went on for that.
You know, if your lightsaber stays like that for more than 4 hours, you need to see a doctor.
Oh, it's so much for our listeners. It's all good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks for coming on.
Is it
Thanks
bad?
for giving us great movies.
All right.
Is it bad to say "May the Force be with you" to the Sith?
I don't know. They use the Force, just the bad part.
You know, and here I was using cough drops to clear out my phlegm. Little Force choke seems to work.
Well, you were always into that sort of thing.
There is that. All right.
So what, we have any more Ask the Strodes?
Nope, that was it. You got your prize, you got your pies.
So you didn't go to the party last night,
Nope.
and I didn't go to the dinner upstairs because it was goddamn cold.
Well, that and they serve big hunks of beef. No
Well,
veggie options this year.
Oh, they didn't even have the veggie burgers this year?
Nope.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah,
That's
but-
the way. I can sing. Jim's not listening.
So I listened to good funk, and you listened to white guy disco.
No, Nickelback.
That does not surprise me at all. I'm listening to Curtis Mayfield. He's
on a
Casey
little
and the
tiny
Sunshine Band.
dumbass speaker. Sorry, boy.
Hey.
You are not funky. Well,
I didn't say I was funky.
okay, I'm wrong. He is funky.
I didn't say I was funky. I say
Oh.
I listen to funk.
On a little tiny dumbass speaker. You might as well just take your 8 tracks and smash them with a hammer.
So you're mocking the speaker that Jim Wicked uses for dancing.
Yes.
You better pray.
I use Bose speakers. And before Bose speakers, I used speakers that were probably taller than this pillar over here. That's a 70s thing, you know. So little tiny $5 Target speakers don't
that was not
cut
a
it.
$5 Target speaker.
Little tiny weenie speaker. Weenie.
Sounds better than you do.
Well, that goes without saying.
So day 2, Sunday mornings start a little slower. Anyway, was there anything interesting that happened at the dinner?
I had dinner with Butch.
It's always good to
Gruber.
have dinner with Butch.
Gruber actually ate the steak. Oh, the podcast has gotten better. Jin's here.
There's no chair. I'm just faking it.
Oh, that's good.
You can sit here.
I'm now the most envious human being on the planet.
Okay, I'm good for the day.
We had a lot of fun with Butch last night. Actually, at the after party, my favorite was Butch, myself, and Angel Medina talking art and getting so loud that the people next door came in and said, "You do know that there are hotel rooms here."
Yeah, they quieted down for about 10 minutes.
But then the person running the thing said, "You guys aren't even half as loud as the wedding party going on down the hall. Don't worry about it." Okay.
Well, you know.
And of course, Angel said that's why everybody at the convention is on the 4th floor and not the 1st floor.
Yeah.
Because this was a dealer who came in and was bitching till they saw Angel, and they went, "Oh, Angel, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was you."
So much for original art for him.
Yep.
Speaking
you
of
want
which,
some original art? Here,
I gotta
I'm
go
gonna sell
check.
it to this guy.
I gotta go check on some art that I asked for.
Fine. Leave.
Strode pods alone. Strode pods alone. Hi ho the dairy-o. Strode pods alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, lovely and talented Jen Wicked.
Morning. It's kind of out of focus.
Are you awake?
I am awake.
That makes one of us.
I need soda, diet soda, and headache medicine.
I have no headache medicine, but I'm sure that they have it over there.
Well, I have medicine.
Okay. I could go get the diet soda when Joe returns. That means I get the diet soda in about a week and a half. So how was your day yesterday? How was your sales? How did things go? How was the dancing? Are your hips okay? 'Cause
Yeah, I'm okay.
dancing all day, pretty much legs.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm used to standing up for long periods of time. So
Yeah,
it's
but
cool.
not dancing.
It's cool. Well, you'd be surprised, actually. Sometimes dancing, yeah.
You dance at your job. Do they play at least decent music, or is it, like the music in the grocery store?
I dance at home a lot.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, unless I'm sitting down, so there's that. Does anybody really expect us to be awake right now?
No. No, it's pretty quiet right now. People really don't start showing up till around noon because it's Minnesota, and that's how Minnesota is. Now is usually the time when the hardcore people go and get their commissions. The people who are here now, who are going up to the artists, are usually dropping the big bucks on people like Angel Medina or Dan Jurgens, Gordon Purcell, people like that, where they're the serious folk.
Are you saying I'm not serious?
No, I'm saying that you're not one to go get commissions.
Yeah, I don't take commissions, but
Or give them. Or
Yep.
pay for them.
nope,
Or do them.
nope. I just dance.
But and sell stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Although you have a minion now who sells your things.
I do. She's doing an excellent job. I almost feel guilty about not paying her.
She gets free food.
She does.
She gets to come in here for free.
She does.
She gets guys looking at her chest for free.
I don't think she wants that.
Well, we could ask.
Do you want guys looking at your chest? I said, do you want guys looking at your chest? She's dressed up more than me. Look at this shit.
We're talking about how you've become a quite able minion.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
And are you having fun?
Oh, yeah. Always.
And you got here on time. Unlike Joe.
Like me. I have to say, it's nice walking in the door having somebody go, "Morning, Miss Wicked." I thoroughly enjoyed that. "Morning, Miss Wicked. How you doing today?" Spoiler alert! I like it when anyone calls me Miss Wicked.
But no, it's pretty slow this morning. Not much going on.
What's beeping? Oh, I think I
My
was.
phone.
Oh.
Somebody's saying stuff. Let's see if we have any questions from the interwebs. Corey needs a hi-hat too. No, Corey does not need a hat. I'm not old enough for a hat. My son, whenever I would put on, I've got the Irish Thug cap, and I've got a couple other hats, and my son would always go, "Yeah, you're not old enough to pull that off. You need to be older to pull that off." And all I could think is, I'm not going to get much older. I'm not. I'm walking in listening to Curtis Mayfield, right? And one of the guys coming up said, "Oh, hey, that's really cool. I like that. Hair's getting awful gray, isn't it?" So there's that.
I was wearing an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time.
And again, isn't your kid always supposed to say you're old? Isn't that a kid's job?
I just used to call my dad.
Did he ever growl at you?
Got a lot of. That's not very nice, kid.
Okay. So, as I said, slower morning. Did you buy anything good? Yesterday, I picked up a whole stack of Marvel Essentials, which are now out of print. They don't make them anymore. And it's funny because a lot of the dealers are like, "Yo, these things sell real great, but I got to get rid of them because they're out of print." So the later printings and stuff are blowing out at $5 each. Even if I've got like Fantastic Four Volume 1 and 2, I'll buy another one for $5 because I'm going to be reading those over and over and over and over and over. I think I told the story yesterday. No, it was the after party last night. There was the Jack Kirby Captain America, his second run on Captain America, the one that went from 193 to 214. The essential that's in, and it's also got the Captain America's Bicentennial Battles and Kirby's 2 annuals. I actually read that one so many times it fell apart. It was, and the pages are falling out and everything, so I had to buy another one. And then I will go back and get the omnibus that I bought, that hopefully I will get to read at some point. But watch a convention. Marvel's Oz Omnibus. It could over 900 pages of Scotty Young art. It contains The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, The Marvelous Land of Oz, Ozma of Oz, Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, The Road to Oz, The Emerald City of Oz, and The Wonderful World of Oz sketchbook and the Oz primer. And the sketchbook, as well as here's all of the alternate covers.
Oh, that's a beautiful book.
And let's see. They're asking what cool stuff we bought, and it looks like you got a big stack of cool
Well,
stuff.
not really. There's just Gruber's doing his blowout sale. He's got 50% off on his big buck stuff.
Scotty Young sketchbook stuff.
So with Gruber, what I did, I picked up these Justice Leagues 147 because it looks like it's got Legion of Superheroes and it's one of the JLA team-ups. And then I picked up 132, 133, and 134 of Justice League because as a lot of you people realize, I collect Supergirl, and she happens to be in these particular issues. And they're fighting that three-headed weirdo. What was his name? Despero? So, and then I just picked up the rest of the stock. Gruber sold a couple Dawn books for me. And with him blowing his stuff out, I looked and I'll put the stuff I had back on eBay. So, that's all. I go hide this, I'll be back.
And I am setting up to share this all over the social medias because I'm not awake yet. There we go. As I said, boy, this is exciting. And we have sound this time. I know yesterday we had a little trouble, didn't have sound like we should. There we go. Again, compelling television. There, shared to the Facebooks. But I wanted to do a little more with the Scotty Young sketchbook stuff. Because one of the things about The Wizard of Oz and the Oz books and all that is when you say Oz, people think of the movies. And Eric Schanauer, who wrote it, did Oz adaptations in the 80s. And he always wanted to go back to the books. So in the books, like here, the Tin Woodsman in the books is described as having a big, thick, bushy mustache. It's Eli!
Hello, I'm so glad I found you because I'm awful at maps. And I was like, where the crap is he?
I never get hugged like that.
Hello, here I am.
We are on the internets. We are live podcasting right
Have a seat.
now.
Nope.
Oh, come on, have a seat.
Why?
Because I've got 7 hours to fill.
Yeah, all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have known Eli since 2002. And we met doing NaNoWriMo.
Heck yeah.
And the same night I met you, you met your lovely wife, Leora.
That's not true. I actually have known you longer than I have known my lovely wife, Leora.
I thought it was at the
No,
the
because
same-
we met. No, I didn't meet Leora until 2003. So there
Really?
you go. There you go. My relationship with you outlasts all things.
So Eli was
Yes,
writing
sir.
a novel. I was writing a novel. Hers was about superheroes, oddly enough.
That's right.
And she doesn't read superhero comics. And I was writing about zombies, and I still am.
Yeah.
But would tell the people a little about who you are and the sort of stuff you do, because you're an amazing creative
Oh,
person.
thanks.
And-
So, my name is Eli Effinger Weintraub. I see now why you didn't attempt that. No one does. Primarily these days, I'm actually a playwright. I write plays.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. When you go to the store, you got the generic stuff: toilet paper, towels,
Plays. I always, people ask me what kind of stuff I write, and I say yes.
Well, tell us about your most recent thing that got staged. And you could look that way.
Oh, right. I'd rather look at you. I don't want to look at the entire internet. Not that you're not beautiful, entire internet. So I can talk about the most recent thing, the most coming thing that's going to be staged, because I'm super excited about it. Gadfly Theater every summer does what they call their Final Frontier Festival, which is a festival of queer, feminist, geeky one-act plays.
Okay.
And I have a piece coming up in that called "Your Princess Pause.
Take two.
Take two. Your Princess is in Another Lair." Because the theme this year is heroes and villains.
Okay.
And I couldn't decide if I wanted to go more comic book heroes and villains or more fairy tale heroes and villains. And then I said, why should I have to choose?
Oh, good.
So basically the story is about a teenage girl who's one of her relatives gives her a book of fairy tales that she finds very boring and problematic. And so she sort of recasts Hans My Hedgehog, if you're familiar with that fairy tale. She kind of rewrites it as a queer feminist superhero story, complete with mustache twirling villains.
Okay.
And hopefully there's a kitten involved somewhere, because kittens make everything better.
Yes.
Not a live kitten.
Now, will there be monkeys? Because monkeys improve everything.
There's no monkey. There's a hedgehog.
Monkeys?
I know, there's a hedgehog.
I don't know if I'm going to go see
There's
it.
a hedgehog and a kitten and a rooster of some sort. I haven't been to rehearsals in several weeks, so I don't know what they're up to.
So, and that's one of the things that I find interesting when I do go see your plays, because you'll tell me what it's about, and then I will see the director or the actors have added so much more.
And that is why I love writing for theater.
And me, on the other hand, that would drive me up the fucking wall. Just read the words.
Well, and I do have playwright friends who are like super controlling about the finished product, and I'm like, if you wanted that, you should have written a puppet show.
Yeah.
And done all the puppetry yourself.
Well, coming up near the end of this year, you'll be surprised at what sort of things are popping up in podcasts. Huh. That's a teaser.
That's a teaser.
But you've been doing plays since I've known you.
Yeah.
And when did you start?
I kind of got started in college, and then I really got serious about it right after college, 2001, 2002. So not long before I met you. I was really kind of, when you do a creative writing focus at a liberal arts college, you don't really get the kind of focus that you might get somewhere else. So, I was dabbling in plays and prose and very briefly in poetry and I Should Never Be Friends. But I was, when I got out of college, I was really like, where do I want to go in my life? And that's actually how I got into Nano in the first place, because I had just had a reading done of one of my plays it was done in sort of mid-October, and I was like, okay, I have to put this play in a drawer, because if I try to go back and edit it right now, I will drive myself literally insane. So I'm going to put it aside, and so I told myself, I am now putting this play aside. And the next day, I was sitting there going, I could pull that out and edit it. And so I sort of put this call out to my friends on the internet, which in those ancient days was mostly LiveJournal. And I said, help. I need something to distract myself for about 6 weeks to 2 months, so I don't sit here thinking about this play every day. And one of my friends was like, did you know there's a bunch of crazy people who write novels in November? And I was like, sold. Fucking sold. And I signed up, so like my very first year I signed up, I think it was like October 28th, and I was like, yeah, I could totally write a novel next month. I don't know what I'm doing. And I did. I finished it, and not only did I finish it, but it was the only one that I actually finished close to 50,000 words.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't end up becoming like 100,000 word epics that took 2 years to write and will probably never see the light of day. This one was done in like 52, and I was like, yeah, all right, I can do that. It's no good. But it had all the important things, you know, villains and superheroes and quiche.
Beginning, middle, end, all those.
Yeah, quiche.
And that was the year they actually started throwing out these challenges, and it's fit this into your book. And the thing is, I look back, I know I did those, but the novel I wrote that year is the one that I turned into the first novel cast.
Sure.
It's 5 years later.
Yeah.
And as I'm going through, it's like, I don't know where the challenges is.
That's so cool.
Obviously, I was able to actually fit it in without it being a pain in the ass that I have to take out when I actually give a shit.
Right. I don't think I can't remember if I've ever done like a real challenge. The only thing I remember is that it wasn't the same kind of challenge, but there was this woman who kind of popped up in one of those threads who would, every few days, she would come back and say, so, when was the last time you let your characters eat? When was the last time they slept? Have they gone to the bathroom ever in this entire book? And it was, not that I feel like I need to actually be sending my characters off to the bathroom on any sort of like real people schedule, but it was I thought it was a really good reminder that your characters are still people. Sometimes maybe they're alien people. Yeah. Or sometimes they're zombie people. But unless you give us a reason why not.
We talk about the zombies eating, though.
Right, oh, for
because
sure.
That's important.
For sure, that's important. To the non-zombie characters, if nothing else. You know, it's important to remember that your characters still need to do stuff.
And me, you and I, we both write, we get along great, we're very good friends, we have very different philosophies on writing.
Oh god, yeah.
Because when I read that, I was like, I don't fucking care about that. That doesn't drive the story forward. I'm very much of the Elmore Leonard. You know all that stuff that in real life that's boring? Don't write that. Well, only write what's important. And then even more the Raymond Chandler and the Dashiell Hammett of Kill Your Darlings. Strip out every single word that doesn't drive the story forward.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, but even people like who in that absolutely minimalist style, I mean, you can set a scene in a diner.
Right. But something has to happen that has to
Oh god,
do with
no,
the
I'm
story.
not talking about like the packing and unpacking the scene, you know, like it definitely has to be relevant somehow. But I think a lot of, and especially a lot of first time writers who are just like, oh my god, I have to get how many words on the page this month? There will just be scenes and scenes where they're just like literally talking heads and you never have any idea of what anybody's doing. And it's actually kind of a hard switch for me to make back and forth between prose and playwriting, because when you are writing for the stage, you don't write that kind of stuff in unless it's absolutely essential. And even then, you know, some directors, the first thing they'll do is be like, well, that's a dumb stage direction. I'm not going to do that, you know.
Now, one of the things that in my last couple novels, my beta readers have said they really like the fact that when I do have dialogue scenes, the characters are doing something during that.
Yes.
So in the last detective novel I wrote, it's a married couple who run the business together, but they also, you know, they're married. They bring different things, and they're having to discuss basically putting some pieces together for the reader. And while they're doing that, the husband is doing the cutting and the chopping and the food prep, and the wife is doing the cooking. And the person reading it said, I really like the fact that you show, you know, this domestic happiness, blah, blah, blah.
That's the way to do it.
Because I did acting, it's, you know, if you're doing dialogue, you have to be doing business.
Right.
And the business tells the character. You
Yeah.
know, what a character does defines them.
Yeah.
It's very much a show don't tell.
Yeah. And
as
if
a
I'm
playwright,
yeah.
all you have is the dialogue, and I'm doing scripting now, and I've put myself I've really put myself in a straitjacket because I have nothing but dialogue and sound effects.
Right. Well, that's. I mean,
have
you
no
don't
visual,
even have. Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
I will not allow a narrator. Because if you listen to old radio comedy, narrators.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I
Yeah.
think it's hackneyed. I
Yeah.
think it's shit. So how do you define character as just through the dialogue? I like the hard questions.
Yeah. Well, you can do a lot. You can actually. Sorry. I don't want to like universal you. I find I can actually do a lot just in literally how they talk. You know, it's an easy trap to fall into to have like 5 characters on the stage who all talk like me.
Yes.
You know, because that's what I'm most comfortable with. But when here's the weird thing. I don't always know how I feel about Myers-Briggs
Yeah.
tests. They're like horoscopes for people who don't believe in astrology.
Right.
But I actually run a lot of my characters through a Myers-Briggs test.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes what is really helpful is to read what other people have written about, like, this is how this type is. And it will sometimes even talk about, like, how they talk.
Yes.
You know? And then I start to notice it in real people I know. Like, one of my coworkers, my old coworkers, he would walk, and he'd been at this job for like 30 years, and he would literally say the exact same thing when he put his briefcase down every morning.
Yes.
Every morning he would put his briefcase on his desk and say, well, it's another morning in paradise.
Yes.
And the people who had been working with him forever said he's been saying the same thing every morning for 35 years. And that, to me, like, that's the kind of thing I want my characters to be doing. I want to have that one character who will always say the same thing. Or I had a character who would have just, like, minor problems with the English language. Sometimes she would just get talking really fast, and she would say, you know, like at one point she said, it's beautiful weather, seems like great day, like it'd be a great day for a peacenik. And the other characters had to kind of stop and, no, wait, what? I think maybe she means picnic, you know, and so a lot of it is in the literal word choices that I make for the characters. But some of it is just throw them in a crappy situation and see how they do, which is not as easy when you don't have the actor's body language.
Right.
And so my hat is way off to you for attempting this.
One of the other things they say to create character, and it's figure out what your character is most afraid of, then do that to them.
It brings it back to that time.
Because that always defines them. You're giving them a bigger mountain to climb, but you're also defining the character not by what they want, but by what they don't want. And in what they don't want, they learn what they want.
It's interesting.
Well, I'll use the example from the novel that's I'm doing now on Novelcast. It's called All In, and it's a character who, kind of drifted through college because, well, I'm going to be a world champion poker player. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take accounting because it teaches me about thinking about money and funds and taking care of stuff, and if I do well in this, I need to be able to manage my money. Poker is money management, so okay, he's going to take accounting. He took psychology. That's where he met his girlfriend. Why does he need psychology? So he can read the other players at the table.
Nice.
Goes to he's saved all of his money. has enough money to go into the big tournament, $10,000. And I was thinking back when I was in college, $10,000, that's more money than I would ever make in my whole life.
Right.
And he goes and he loses on the first hand. And that's the opening. His biggest fear, I did right there. Second biggest fear, that his life has to change. Because I remember when I got out of college, but I don't want to move away. This is where I've spent my whole life. I've never lived more than 10 miles away from Macomb, Illinois. Mm-hmm. Well, he's got to confront that too. So it's like, give him all of these horrible things to define his character. And have the people around him, how do they react to that? Now, they have their own lives.
Right.
And the hardest thing has been, I really like this character. She's got this really interesting side story. And where it interacts with him, she's in the book. Where it doesn't, kill your darlings. She's a great character, has a wonderful side story that does not drive my story forward. She is needed here, here, and here for these specific things. But that's me stripping everything down. I'm reading a book right now called Rama 2. It's a sequel to Rendezvous with Rama.
Okay.
Now, you know Arthur C. Clarke. His characters they're a little less thin than this. But he had a co-writer on this. And it's, okay, well, this person's going to do a little more characterization. Way too far the other way. Where this plot has stopped for 50 pages while I hear about this person's affair she had 20 years ago with royalty. And it's, no one fucking.
No, right. And I think this is another part of the reason why I do so much better with plays than novels, is because, in the theater, and especially more and more, you have. I mean, obviously, nobody's going to say you wrote a play with one protagonist. Go away. There's still something very, very vital about having one character who's supposed to be the identifying character. But there's also more room for more ensemble, kind of like the whole group becomes the protagonist.
Ensemble is different writing too,
and it's not. I mean, you still don't want 50 pages of her ancient affair with royalty. Although I will argue that the one place that really seems to work well is magical realism. I just thought of it because I'm currently reading Dona Flor and Her Two Husbands. Jorge Amado is like 60s magical realism, and I swear, this man writes like I talk. I think we're back on the plot now, but at one point he went like 4 tangents deep, and he even says, like, his authorial voice says, now, I know you might not think that this is necessarily relevant to the story we are telling, and he is 1000% right about that. The story is completely irrelevant, but it's just so... In magical realism, there's that sort of expectation of, we are going to throw so much level of detail at you, you will literally have no idea what's relevant and what's not, and we're just going to flood you with it until your whole body just turns into one giant wad for sensation.
Well, the Travis McGee novels by John D. McDonald are like that. There's a mystery there. But it's more about, I'm going to tell you about what's going on in Florida. I'm going to talk about the ecology. I'm going to talk about these people who move here. Who are the people who now live in South Florida? How are they different from where they were? There's one Travis McGee novel where I swear to God, he goes off on a tangent so far that a character calls the lead character and says, you have not checked in on your on the person you're protecting in 2 weeks now. You need to get to the hotel. And I can't believe the editor allowed that in, but I guess at that point his book sold so well, they were like, yeah, fuck it, do what you want. Do what you want.
Or maybe that character is a stand-in for the editor calling and saying, you have not checked in on your plot for 2 weeks. Come back to us.
Now, in a one-act play,
Well, but that's entirely different.
Right.
Okay, but what's
in
your
a
question?
one-act play?
Yeah.
How is the structure different from a novel or most novels are 5 to 3 acts. Most plays are 5 3 acts or 2 acts that are really 3 acts.
Yeah.
In a one-act play, in my mind, it has to be a short story where it's a quick hit. You're gonna drive to a point, the point's made because you have a very limited amount of time.
Yeah, it's pretty. Well, okay. Part of the challenge is that different people mean different things when they say one act. Some people actually mean a 10-minute play when they say a one act. I think 10-minute plays are something entirely different. That's more like flash fiction.
Yeah.
Where it's almost like a gag or a vignette. A one act that's like, say, 45 minutes to an hour, sort of what you'd probably see at the Fringe. That is much more like a short story, and that is really where you want. Ensemble stuff doesn't really work well at that length. You need a character and a goal that needs to be reached, or a situation that needs to be gotten away from. Yeah, it has to be so precise, because there's no time to spend on lovingly building backstories and worlds.
There's no subplots.
Right. You have to, and that's a really good place to, in prose they say, okay, write your draft, chop off your first paragraph. Does it still make sense? Okay, that's your new first paragraph. Now chop off that paragraph, and see how far you can do that before you really get to the story. And that, a one-act play works the same way. You have to just dive right in exactly at the inciting incident. There's no room for, like, sitting around admiring the calla lilies or whatever for 5 pages.
These used to be these wonderful wetlands, and now they're draining them to build condos. You don't have time for that.
Unless that's what it's about.
Right.
How can we save beautiful wetland from the condos?
Now, you're here at a comic book convention.
I know, and we have really not talked about anything about comic books.
Well, that's because you and I, we don't see each other as much as I would like. But then again, I don't see anybody as much as I would like.
I know.
Because I'm crazy.
That's all right. We're terrible hermits too. Lately
it's not as much hermitage as the group home is saying, well, if you work this sleeping overnight shift, we'll give you a bonus of this much. And then my brain goes, well, I could sleep in my own bed for free or sleep on this couch for $95 to $100.
Yeah.
I'm going to get bad sleep anywhere, so why not get bad sleep and get paid?
No.
My brain is broken. But comics.
Comics. I like them. Hence why I'm here.
So what sort of things do you... Well, first off, what was the first MSPComiCon that you ever came to?
Hasn't been very long. I think it was 2016.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I get distracted at times because the lovely and talented Jen Wicked is back to dancing at her table.
Nice.
She did that most of yesterday.
If you're gonna be here all day, you might as well dance, right?
People don't want to see me dancing. Although, when I came in, I needed to rev myself up. So I'm listening to Underground Garage, Sirius Satellite Radio. I love Underground Garage. And the song that was playing when you turned the radio off was Pusher Man by Curtis Mayfield. And I was like, no, I should sit in the car and listen to it, but I need to get in and, wait a minute, I have satellite, I have this on my phone. Walking in, listening to Pusher Man.
Excellent.
Then I got here and set up. It's like, there's nobody here. Let's listen to Superfly. Let's listen to the theme from Shaft. Let's listen to...
you are all class, Corey.
Some 70s funk. Joe comes over and goes, music's crap. I made Joe go away. But yes, it's 2016.
It's 2016, so I'm thinking my first was FallCon in 2014.
Okay.
That's my best guess.
And you've
Time,
done
what
science
is
fiction
time?
conventions and stuff, but any other comic
yeah.
conventions?
You know, I haven't. It's weird. I feel like the comic community in the Twin Cities, and you are so much more hooked into it than I am, but it feels pretty like it's kind of isolated from the rest of the geek community.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not wrong
No.
in thinking that.
Now, there are some people here who will also show up at Convergence.
Right.
But it's really... I see the science fiction community in the Twin Cities as very kind of party-oriented. Because when you hear about Convergence, you don't hear,
Sure.
oh, here's this great author who's going to give a seminar. It's, man, there was this party where everybody
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah,
And
for
this is
sure.
more, people are here to buy comics and read art.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the two worlds are like
Yeah.
this.
I'm super new to comics in general, but the first year I really started getting excited about it. I was so excited when Convergence was coming around because it was this whole new avenue to explore. And then when I started looking at what was available, I was like, you know, in terms of programming and in terms of representation in the dealer's room, I was like, where are my people?
Yeah.
You know? So that was, it's been weird trying to find where the comic book people are.
We don't leave the house.
Well, because you said any other comic book conventions, and I'm like, where would I find them? Apparently, I don't know the secret code phrase.
Well, the Wizard World, who we destroyed. And there are other smaller comic conventions outside the Twin Cities, but we're
Sure.
kind of the 800-pound gorilla here.
Yeah.
So what sort of comics are you here to buy? You're really into the indie stuff, and I actually look to you to kind of pull me out of the mainstream.
Oh, yay! Yeah.
Because I think you were the first person who said, read Saga and read Saga now. Okay.
If it wasn't me, it was surely Leora.
Yes.
Leora is my absolute beacon for all of those things because she grew up on Marvel and DC and then was kind of out of it for a while. And I think when she started feeling like coming back to it, part of it was she follows a lot of indie artists online, and part of it I think was just how very daunting it can be to try and figure out what the crap is going on in Marvel and DC. Like, I don't even remember what I asked her about once, but I was like, well, but didn't this guy? And she was like, well,
He died, and then he came back as a cosmic entity, and then something happened, and now he's back to who he used to be.
Right.
But
And
he's an alternate version of himself in the future.
Yeah, when every
that was Iron Man.
When every conversation starts, well, it depends on what universe you're talking about.
Yes.
At one point, I was like, oh God, what? And sometimes it's easier to sometimes it's easier to just be like, oh, you are creating this brand new thing that hasn't had time to mushroom into this giant, and I mean that in the literal sense of mushrooming,
Yes.
where the spores are carried on the wind to, I also kind of obsessed with mushrooms.
Yeah, you were, has nothing to do with comics, but
I'll find a way.
all of her posts have been about morels. And my father just got back from his trip. My parents, every year they go down to Florida. They've been married 52 years.
Oh my gosh.
And he is now on the morel hunt, which he has done since I was a
Yes.
child.
Yes.
And my jerk brother-in-law at one point asked him, well, so one of these days you need to take me out when you go morel hunt so I can find out where it is and everything. He said, oh no. No one comes with me when I go morel hunting.
Oh yeah. I am a dilettante morel hunter, but the people who get serious about it, those are sacred spots. It's highly secretive. I will tell no one where I find where my stash is because once you have a good spot, and they'll move, The spots
Yeah.
will kind of move, but one spot will be pretty good to you for 3 or 4 years, and you do not share that information with anyone. Absolutely.
Unlike comics, where we share everything.
Right, absolutely. So I actually didn't come with anything. I don't come with anything specific in mind when I come here.
Oh, okay.
I really just try to, I wanted to see you. You're my first stop. And I have, I know a couple people who are around. But mostly I just wander around and say, show me what you got, world.
So what are your favorite comics you're reading right now?
My absolute love above all else favorite is Lumberjanes.
Okay.
Just, and that's a really good example for me, even in my playwriting, of how you can have ensemble work that's still, where all the characters are still very distinct and very much their own people. Plus there's dinosaurs periodically.
And you gotta love dinosaurs.
Right. I am a little behind on my saga, but absolutely saga. Chew.
Coming to an end.
I know.
They solicited the beginning of the final story. I'm interested to see what those guys will do next.
Yes, absolutely.
Are you reading I Hate Fairyland?
No.
By Scotty Young.
No.
First, I have been showing people. I'm going to show you some Scotty Young art.
All right.
I'm going to show you 900 pages of Scotty Young art.
Oh, hi there. Hello.
This is the Oz Omnibus. And
Talk amongst yourself, Internet. I'm going away
and
for
now
a minute.
he's doing a comic called I Hate Fairyland about this little girl who fell into fairyland
Okay.
and has been there for 40 years. And she has not aged. And it has changed her because she was supposed to do this quest to get out, and she has not been able to do this quest to get out.
Why? Why have I? Okay. Why am I not reading this?
Jen Wicked, who does not like comics, she's not a comic reader. She's slowly getting into it. I am her Sherpa.
Okay.
That she said it was the greatest thing she'd ever read, and one of the reasons I bought this is she loves Scotty Young's art so much. And I've always kind of wanted this, but it's, I'm not going to pay $125. Oh, wait, it's $35.
Nice.
And I'll be able to give it to her, and she'll be happy while she's reading it. Okay, $35, yeah. And then I'll put it on my shelf.
Nice. All right.
And it's Image. There's the first trade is out.
Great.
And the good thing about it is it's an ongoing. The end of the first trade. That's a good self-contained story. You can actually read that story all by itself. And,
Sure.
Okay, that's good.
That's The Fuse. Have you read The Fuse?
I have not read The Fuse.
It's that's one of the things that I have been enjoying about that as well, is that it's it's space cops solving space murders on a space station in space. So it's pretty it's a pretty straightforward police procedural in a lot of ways.
Okay.
But they do really cool things with one of the things I love about comics is the way you can do so much of the backstory and world building in the art, and you never have to have 10 or 20 pages of, and this is how we got to this thing and this thing. You can just kind of see, people can refer to, remember when that thing, and then...
And you can show a flashback.
Yeah. Or, you've done, I think Chew has done a really good job of, Chew is the only comic I read where I will actually, take the glasses off because no one will prescribe me bifocals. But I will take my glasses off and I'll read all of the the posters on the walls and all the graffiti on the mailboxes or whatever, because
and they built a really complex world.
And
when it started, it's okay. Here's this one little thing that's different.
Yeah.
But as the story goes on, you see that that one little thing has affected everything.
Yes, and that's really hard to do well. I think it's, as someone who has attempted to write kind of that sort of, it's almost alt history kind of stuff where you're like, it's really hard to see all the threads of, if I change this one thing, what changes about everything else in the entire world. And they have done, I think, a really fantastic job of showing that.
It's one of the reasons I really like Saga, because he takes what could be a very simple world. These two space empires have been fighting.
Yeah.
And as it goes on, you're seeing he's getting into the politics and how royalty interacts with this, and all of these different things. And really, at the core of this love story is a political struggle.
Right.
And when it started, it's one guy from one side, and woman from the other side meet and fall in love.
Yeah.
And their dynamic is as complex as the world.
Right.
Which I like because it shows one of the problems I have with a lot of relationships in comics and really in the superhero stuff, but in a lot of it, it's they're either together or they're not. They're either happy or they're not. If they're together, they're happy. And if they're not together.
Yeah.
And they have to break up.
Right.
And it's why people, I think, who read other stuff go, when a comic company or comic creator goes, well, we can't have the hero get married because after that, the story is done and blah, blah, blah. It's no, that's, if you think when you get married, everything's fixed.
Right. Like, are none of you married? Or none of you actually married yourselves? It's so not how marriage works. And the other thing about Saga is, one of the many hundreds of things about Saga is in the robot society, just what they've done based on what your screen looks like.
Yes.
The way you can know so much about socioeconomic standing and just general life circumstances. Like the first time you see the king, and he is literally like he's the whole page.
Yes.
Giant flat screen that takes up the whole spread. And I feel like I know him, even if he had never said a word. I'm like, I know this guy now.
Yeah.
And it's the economy.
Yes.
It's like it's very richly drawn and detailed, but every single image tells you so much.
When you've got a good artist, you can do that.
Oh yeah.
One of my favorite comic creators is Ed Brubaker, who does nothing but crime stories.
Yep.
And he does with Sean Phillips. He's been working with Sean Phillips for 15 years now. They started with this noir superhero, and then it's okay. Here's a crime story that has some superhero. Oh, now it's just nothing but crime stories. And Sean Phillips, when he draws a character, he's not. It's not the generic face, the generic body. No, you know this person based on how they look.
Yeah.
This person has had a rough life. The description is he's in his 40s, but his face is very craggy and he's sunken, and the shoulders protrude out like someone who hasn't eaten much over the last 10 years. So rather than Brubaker having to, this is a career criminal who's not very good at it, so he's always this, and he's been in jail a lot, but he's not one of the guys who lifts weights, Nope, it's this guy has been doing this for 20 years. And that's all you need to say. And you know everything from the visual.
Yeah.
And it's one of the big changes. We were talking 70s comics at the after party last night. And 70s comics, here's a picture, and here's all this text.
Sure.
Because they thought, well, first off, we need to give them their money's worth, so so the comic isn't read in 10 minutes.
Right.
But it's also, I'm telling a story with pictures, and now I'm telling a story through pictures.
Yes. And it's still, if you do it right, it's still not a 10-minute read.
Right.
Because you have to stop and look at the picture, because the picture is the story is as much in the imagery as in the words. I got distracted by Dan. Dan is very distracting.
Now, how long have you known Dan? The dangerous Dan Moore, who's been on the podcast quite a few times. Eli has known Dan. I think you knew him before you knew me.
Yeah, I have known him. He actually, for a while, was dating one of my friends in college. So I have probably known him since the late 90s. I feel like Leora's known him even longer. I feel like Leora's known everyone. Actually, I don't know. I
don't know anybody.
I know Leora knew Jules.
Hey, I'm sitting right here.
Which surprises me because...
Are you anybody? I'm just sitting at your table, man. I don't know. I'm just glad I found you, because I'm pants at maps.
And if Joe takes over, you and I need to talk about a couple of things not on camera. I owe Leora money.
You got me till 2 o'clock, and then I'm going for the art.
Yeah, I know. But I owe Leora money because Leora does this beautiful art.
Man.
And what it is, she takes a phrase and the way she puts it on a page through the lettering. It's art. Just taking that phrase and using different fonts and different emotion and different quill styles and different all of this. And she did one for me that's absolutely beautiful. It's my favorite quote in the world. Oddly enough, it's not written by Aaron Sorkin. What the hell?
It's like I don't even know you, man.
It's David Kelly.
Yeah, right.
From Boston Legal.
Sure.
Who, not as good as Aaron Sorkin, but still very good.
Yeah.
No one's as good as Aaron Sorkin.
No one.
Well, okay, Grant Morrison, but Grant Morrison doesn't write TV and plays and movies. Grant Morrison writes the Bible for me.
Somebody...
The Invisibles is my Bible.
Somebody once, at a, play reading of mine, somebody called my writing Sorkin-esque, and I almost died on the spot. I was like, that's it. I have reached the pinnacle.
Did you go, I'm gonna need a moment.
Right? I was just like,
yeah.
I was just like, okay, put it away for a minute so you can react like an ordinary human being. But I was just like, oh, there's no way.
That was how we bonded. We bonded over Aaron Sorkin.
It's nothing in my life will ever surpass this moment. I was already married at the time, so I can say that.
She's not watching.
She's not watching.
She's working this weekend.
She's a workshop, actually.
That's work.
Yeah,
that's work. Okay. But actually, why don't you tell people how they can get to Leora's stuff so they can commission work from her?
Oh, her website currently is Leora, Leora, .carbonmade.com.
And wonderful commissions. I've posted a couple of her things. I've shared some of her stuff. If you've got a quote or something that means something to you, she will do this beautiful lettering on really nice paper. It's suitable for framing. It really is. And the one she gave me, I have framed and given to the lovely Jen Wicked.
Awesome.
Because it's one of those things where I don't have the words to explain certain things, but oh look, here's a quote.
Nice. Yeah, she and it doesn't have to be deeply profound.
No, she's done some that are just 2 words, and I look at it and go, that is the perfect visualization of those 2 words.
Yeah. She was having a really bad day at work a couple of weeks ago, and she did one that literally just says "fuck it."
Yeah.
And it's the best. You look at that and you're like, yes, that is exactly what "fuck it" looks like.
That is the emotion of "fuck it."
Yeah. Yep. Yay! I love getting to...
Well, where is Joe? Damn it, he wandered off again.
You could try cuffing him to the chair.
I could try beating him with a club. I'd like to join a club and beat him over the head with it. When nothing else works, the Groucho Marx quote always wins.
Wow, that was amazing. We went to a different place all of a sudden.
Oh, Groucho Marx works everywhere.
Oh, for sure. Although, and this is, I'm starting to feel, I'm at the age where I'm just, people I encounter on a regular basis make me feel old. Most of my coworkers are
see if we have any
early to
questions.
mid 20s,
No
and
questions.
that's all right because I have not been talking much about comics.
No,
people
no.
want to know about playwrights. Why do you do this to yourself?
Hey, they like the mushrooms. It's those mushrooms.
Yeah,
And all new, all confusing Marvel now. That's their new branding.
I think that would be the most honest name for it. Yeah, I could say more things about actual comics.
Well, Joe is coming back. Joe, I need you to take over for about 5 minutes. Okay. So I will be back. Joe is taking over. Thank you.
Bye, Internet! Don't break things.
Before you go, I have some numbers for you.
Oh, okay. We have numbers.
We do.
42.
And you were told there was going to be no math.
23. 17.
Number 1.
4.5.
The girls raised $1,360